Good morning. The story you're about to hear is the story of God's love, faithfulness, and sovereignty. And by the way, I did not tell my husband that I'm doing this. I'm not trying to be secretive or anything. I just wanted to surprise him. My name is Endah Smith, and I'm originally from Indonesia. I was born and raised in a Christian household, Catholic to be exact. As Indonesia is predominantly Muslim, consequently, wherever you live, you are surrounded by Muslim community. I went to church with my parents regularly, but during the Muslim fasting month of Ramadan, I fasted and went to the mosque. It was fun because lots of my friends were going. I could recite some verses from the Quran, but had no idea what it meant. One day, my mom told me that I cannot go to church and the mosque too. I have to choose, so I choose to go to church. I got baptized when I was 12, but looking back, maybe I did not know what I was supposed to feel like and how I was supposed to live my life after being baptized. Sure, I was involved at church, being a youth group leader, involved in choir, reading Bible verses at church on Sunday, etc. But I did not have what I know later as a relationship with God. I was filled with stubbornness, selfishness, prideful, jealousy, everything bad except the fruit of the Spirit. Fast forward, in the late 80s, ma'am, I'm that old, I started working for the International Oil and Gas Company. In the beginning of 1990, God sent this handsome man from America who works for the same company to Jakarta, Indonesia, to work in geothermal division. Our path crossed one afternoon, and I found out that he is a Christian, and not just Christian, but a strong believer. God used so many people in our office to get us involved and become an item. In the late 1990, we decided to date. And here is the great thing is about David. Once we were dating, he was making sure that we are both involved at church, Sunday school, choirs, etc. And this thing has become a foundation of our life wherever we live. You heard people asking questions, who played the biggest part in your walk with God? If you ask me, I could honestly say that David did. After all, he turned this rigid Catholic follower into a hand-raising Baptist worshiper. We got married in 1994, and in 1995, God moved us to Sugar Land, Texas. We lived there about 2.5 years, but it was the longest 2.5 years in our life as God put our faith to the test, which brought us down on our knees every morning. In 1997, God moved us to Baku, Azerbaijan. In 1998, I was pregnant with our daughter, and one day my husband told me that we had to move to a different country. I was mad and throwing a tantrum just like 2 years old. One morning as I was praying, God literally told me that I was being disobedient. I repented and got myself together and said, from now on, when God told me to move, I just pack my bag and leave. In the span of 13 straight years, we lived in 4 countries, and throughout those years, God always showed me that He is faithful and sovereign, and my job is to obey and to trust Him. In 2010, God moved us to Northern California, and once again, God provided a good church for us to be involved with. In 2011, after a routine mammogram, they told me to have a biopsy as the result was not normal. So I went to have the biopsy done. During the uncomfortable procedure, I recited Psalm 23, as the Lord is my shepherd and I should not be afraid. A few days later, I got a phone call, and this time saying that the biopsy showed cancer and it needs to be taken care of sooner than later. After I hung up the phone, I just sat there and saying, I didn't know what to do. But God said you do not need to do anything. The next day, I got a phone call from a doctor who told me that she already organized and made an appointment with all the necessary doctors. And later, I found out that my surgeon is a believer. As they wheeled me into a surgery room, in my head I was singing, "Our God is greater, our God is stronger." I had a lumpectomy and radiation treatment in August 2011 and has been cancer-free since. I am actually thankful that God let me deal with cancer because now I can minister to those who are going through the same ordeal. After hearing my story, they know that I understand what they are going through and not just trying to sympathize with them. After California, God sent us to Morocco for a few years and then Houston for 5 years. In 2021, God brought it to our attention that it was our time to retire, which brought us here to Dundee and to be sitting here among the family of believers of Grace Baptist Church. Every day I thank God for saving me from an empty life, for choosing me to be His daughter, for helping me to say yes and accept His love and sacrifice, and to accept Jesus as my Savior. Every day I pray that God will guide my steps, my words, my heart, and my mind, and that my words and my actions and everything I do will be a reflection of His glory. Thank you for listening.